got a wife, I got a family. I earn my living with my hands. I'm a roller in a steel mill in downtown Birmingham. Well, my daddy was a bomber, most unsightly man. He was born in Tuscaloosa, but he died right here in Birmingham. Birmingham, Birmingham, greatest city in Alabama. You can travel across this entire land. There ain't no place like Birmingham. All right. Wife's named Mary, but she's called Marie. We live in a 3-room house.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing tunes from Randy Newman's The Good Old Boys, please join me in offering up a warm cutting room welcome to Rob Paparozzi and the Dixie Flyers.
Last night I saw Mr. Maddox on the TV show with some smart-ass New York Jew. And the Jew laughed at Lester Maddox. The audience laughed at Lester Maddox too. Well, he may be a fool, but he's our fool. If they think they're better than him, they're wrong. So I went to the park, brought some paper along. That's where I made this song. Talk real funny down here. Drink too much, you will laugh too loud. Too dumb to make it no romance. We're keeping the niggas down. We got no neck, all men from Texas. Good old boys from Tennessee. College man from LSU. When you're done, they come out the door. Buzzing down the lane in the Alabama shoe. Getting drunk every weekend at the barbecue. Keeping the niggas down. We're rednecks, we're rednecks. We don't do our ass from the hole in the ground. We're rednecks, we're rednecks. We're keeping the niggas down. Now you know one of the niggas a Negro. You see he's got his dignity. Down there with you echo and you realize the moment said you better free. Yeah, he's really put the cage. Harlem in New York City. It's free to be put in the cage. The south side and the west side of Chicago. Free to be put in the cage. The Huff and Cleveland. Free to be put in the cage. East St. Louis. It's free to be put in the cage. Philmont, San Francisco. Free to be put in the cage. Roxbury and Boston. But gather up could just, you know, plow through it like a record, but we're not going to do that. I was going to talk a little bit before we did Rednecks, but I think we had a lot of people out here tonight that maybe know this record. Do we have people here tonight that know this record? I thought so. So thank you for coming out, and we're going to be talking throughout this. This next song that we're going to do is a song that kind of sets up, these first couple of songs kind of set up the album. Randy Newman was asked to come up with a concept kind of record, and this was Songs of the South, but he also came up with a character. And the character originally, before they called it Good Old Boys, the LP, was Johnny Cutler's birthday. And it was a good old boy from the South, and he felt he had to set this up. So Johnny Cutler came from Birmingham. That's the name of this next song. Got a wife, I got a family. I earn a living with my hands. I'm a roller in a steel wheel in downtown Birmingham. Well, my daddy was a barber, the most unsightly man. He was born in Tuscaloosa, but he died right here in Birmingham. Birmingham, Birmingham, great city in Alabama. You can travel across this entire land. There ain't no place like Birmingham. Which is called Marie. Live in a 3-room house with a pepper tree. Work all day in a factory. That's alright with me. I've got a big black dog. His name is Dan. Lives in my backyard in Birmingham. Greenest dog in Alabama. Get him, man. Birmingham, Birmingham, great city in Alabama. You can travel across this entire land. There ain't no place like Birmingham. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robbie Kondor on piano. Yeah. This is a special treat tonight because it's one thing to come out and play this music. Now this is 45 years old. Last fall it was 45 years old, and Randy Newman recorded it. It came out in 1974. He debuted it down in Atlanta with the Symphony Orchestra in 1974 in that fall, and it's hard to believe that that much time has passed, and it's still a wonderful record. And to make it even more wonderful is we have the producer of this album here with us tonight, Mr. Russ Titleman. Hey, Russ. Thank you for coming out. Yeah, this is like doing the White Album and having George Martin sit there. I'm nervous as hell, man. But thank you for coming out. If you don't mind, I might have a couple of questions about some of this stuff, and I know you have the answers. But I'll let you enjoy and listen first. Johnny Cutler had a wife. His wife was Mary, but they called her Marie. Johnny liked to drink a little bit, you know, went out with the guys a lot after work, and he came home one night after drinking a little bit too much, and he didn't wake his wife up, but she was sleeping in bed, and he started singing this song there, and it's called Marie. 1, 2, 3. Look like a princess the night we met, with your hair piled up high, I will never forget. Drunk right now, baby, but I've gotta be. I could never tell you what you mean. Love you the first time I saw you, and I always will love you, Marie. Love you the first time I saw you, and I always will love you. You're the song that the trees sing when the wind blows. You're a flower, you're a river, you're a rainbow. Sometimes I'm crazy, but I guess you know. I'm weak and I'm lazy, I've heard your soul. Now don't listen to a word you say. When you're in trouble, darling, I'll just turn away. I loved you the first time I saw you, and I always love you, Marie. Love you the first time I saw you, and I always love you, Marie. Randy Newman. We have another special guest here tonight. This is amazing, and so I'm so glad. We only did this one other time. We did this on January 3rd. I picked the world's worst night. It was like a treacherous snowstorm, and I booked it upstate New York at the Falcon, which is a great room in Marlboro, New York. And my good friend John Guth, great guitar player and sound man, it came all the way up. He set up the stuff at 2 in the afternoon, and this stuff started about 2 in the afternoon. And we were driving up, we saw skid outs every 5 miles. It was, and when we got there, the guy who owns the club, Tony Falco, who owns the Falcon, said, I love that record, and you're going to do it. I normally would cancel, but you got to come in. He goes, your sound guy's here. He goes, everybody's here, do it. And, you know, there was 30 people. And one of the people that braved the storm was a fellow that I met when I started researching this last year, and I said, this is 45 years, I want to do this great record. I found a book online, and it was called Song of the South, and it's about this record. And Mr. David Gaston is here tonight. David, would you stand up for a second? David Gaston is here. And I put little postcards on the table. If you can get his ebook online, it's amazing. If you're into the Randy thing, and if you're into this record, you got to check it out. He spent hours with Russ Titleman and Lenny out, and the other producer out in the West Coast, and man, it's wonderful. So I'm glad we discovered each other online, and you came out, and you came to the Falcon, and you're here again tonight.
And you're killing it, Rob.
Thank you, I'm usually here at the cutting room with other bands, and they hire me as a harmonica player, but today I get to, kind of do my best Randy Newman, and I just love his stuff.
I got to work with Randy only one time, and it was down at the Kennedy Center. I went down there to do a show. It was like a roast for Steve Martin, and Randy Newman came out because he did a movie, Parenthood, where he did a great song, Love to See You Smile. And he was going to come out and play it solo. And he came over to the band, and Peck, you were on that gig. And he came over to this, we had like a little roots kind of band, and and Steve Martin was going to play some banjo with us later on that night. And Randy came over and he goes, I was going to do this song solo, but you guys, he goes, how about if I use the clarinet and the fiddle, and then he started to walk away on that, and he goes, and the harmonica. This is great. So I got to go out. We learned the song in 10 minutes, and we did it but he had no idea I was a giant Randy Newman fan. The next song on the record is a song. This record is so important because there's so much of what has gone on in the record that's so relevant today. I mean, every part of it, it's about racism, and it's about politics, and it's about all kinds of stuff, and it's a shame that we haven't come a whole lot further, but it's great to have this record because you listen to it and you realize that we have come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. This song was recorded, and Russ told me this before, that it was recorded on the night that President Nixon resigned, August 8th, 1974. They watched it on TV and went into the studio and recorded it. And it's a song, so it's not about Richard Nixon, but it is. Mr. President, have pity on the working man. It goes like this. We have taken all you have given, but it's getting hard just to make a living. Mr. President, have pity on the working man. We're not asking you to love us. You may place yourself high above us, Mr. President. Pity on the working man. I know it may sound funny, but people everywhere running out of money. We just can't make it by ourselves. It's cold, the wind is blowing. We need something, keep us going, Mr. President, have pity on the working man. Should we give the ensemble some? Maybe you cheated, maybe you lied, maybe you lost your mind, maybe you're only thinking about yourself. Too late to run, too late to cry now. The time has come for us to say goodbye, Mr. President. Pity on the working man, Mr. President. Pity on the working man. 1974. Probably a hot summer night, right, Russ? And you guys had a couple of beers and then laid it down. I hope I have these in the right order, because these people have this record memorized, and if I have it out of order, they're going to let me know.
Sequencing doesn't happen anymore.
No?
No.
It's not important anymore, right?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, then I hope I got the next one right.
This one isn't about Richard Nixon.
This one's not about Richard Nixon, but it's about probably, you know, our good old boys again. And its song's probably even a little deeper than the words go. But I think who else? Joe Cocker covered this song, and a few other. I think I heard Bonnie Raitt do it one night. And great song called Guilty. And it goes like this. Yes, baby, I've been drinking. And I shouldn't come by, I know. But I found myself in trouble, dog. I just had nowhere else to go. Got some whiskey from the bar. Got some cocaine from a friend. But I just had to keep on moving till I was back in your arms again. I'm guilty, baby, I'm guilty, and I'll be guilty all the rest of my life. How come I never do what I'm supposed to do? How come nothing that I ever do seems to turn out right? You know how it is with me, baby. You know, sometimes I just can't stand myself. But it takes a whole lot of medicine for me to pretend that I'm somebody else. What a band I get to sing with. Oh my God, these guys are amazing. And I should say also, thank you so much. That chart, when I had this idea, I called Robbie, and Robbie said, well, I'll do a couple of charts. Why don't we call in some people that can maybe, we don't want to, this record was done as an orchestra, and an amazing rhythm section that you guys put together for this record. And we didn't want to change anything, but we knew we couldn't hire an 80-piece orchestra either. So we just said, well, let's just do it with, pieces that we feel comfortable with and arrange for that and try and stay true to the work. So you're not hearing anything different. We're not doing a jazz record. Rosanna Vitro did an amazing take on Randy Newman's music, and she did like a jazz kind of thing. I wanted to stay a little truer to this until we got inside these songs a little more, and we did. David Spinozza wrote that chart. Great guitar player and arranger, and he wrote that, and I'll try and announce as we do these who did the charts. David, Seth Farber, amazing arranger and keyboard player, was the second arranger that we brought into this project.
And that's not all.
And that's not all, because you know what? He decided that he was going to spend his birthday playing Randy Newman music. Happy birthday, Seth. And that's not all, because he just found out this week that he's #1 in the over 30 racquetball championship in New York State. That's pretty damn amazing. Come on, Seth Farber, #1 racquetball. Come on out, take a belt. Oh yeah, no, come on out and conduct it. You deserve it, man. Yeah. So He did the chart on Rednecks, and I'm just and also let's see, Robbie, you did Birmingham, right? All right, and Marie, Robbie, you did Marie, and that doesn't sound right. Robbie, you did Marie. And Guilty with David Spinozza. Okay, so hang on, let me get out of Seth's way here. This is probably the only song, maybe one other one. I don't get to play much harmonica in this band, but that's okay. This song here, Guilty ends the A side. You all remember what A sides were. So the first side of the record ended with Guilty. And basically, from what I understand after reading David's book and after and talking with people that knew how this was put together, the first side was to explain the character of Johnny Cutler's thing and, you know, the Song of the South kind of thing. And the second side was a little more historical in perspective. So the second side, the B side, starts out with this song that kind of came back to us after Hurricane Katrina about, what, 6-7 years ago. And it's called Louisiana 1927, about the bad flood that happened. And it wasn't just a flood. There was a lot of politics and corruption even behind it, which we found later on with Katrina. There was all that kind of stuff going on as well. But they dynamited the levees, and they got, you know, the politicians were involved. They wanted to keep the waters away from the bigger cities, and they just flooded the hell out of the cotton fields and drove all these people from the plantations up north. And it's not just a flood. So it's called Louisiana 1927. And Seth is going to conduct. What has happened down here? They said the weather changed. Clouds rolled in from the north, and it started to rain. Well, it rained real hard. It rained for a long, long time. 6 feet of water in the streets of a bay in July. Well, that river rolls all day. People, the river rolls all night. Some people got lost in the flood. Some people got away alright. And that river busted clear down through the black and white. 6 feet of water in the streets of a van July. Louisiana, Louisiana, we're trying to wash us away. We're trying to wash us away. Louisiana, Louisiana, we're trying to wash us away. We're trying to wash us away. President Coolidge came down here on a railroad train with a little fat man, notepad in his hand. The president said, "Little fat man, ain't it a shame what the river has done this poor crapper's life?" Louisiana, Louisiana, we're trying to wash us away. We're trying to wash us away. Louisiana, Louisiana, woo. We're trying to wash us away. 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 Yeah. Let me just take a minute. Let me just take a minute to to backtrack a little bit, I want to introduce the band at this time. And I'm going to start with our ensemble first. On flugelhorn and trumpet. And is flute too? And flute. You don't get many brass players that double on flute, I'll tell you. I'm honored and so thrilled that he's doing this with us. Mr. Pt.1. And one of the top reed players that I know in town, Mr. Jack Bashkow. Clarinet, flute, tenor saxophone. Thank you for doing this, Jack. I first met Kenny Kosick, our fiddle player here. Back in the 80s, I was called in to sub for your good friend, the late, great Don Brooks, amazing harmonica player that I learned a lot of stuff from. And I met you down in Big River. Roger Miller wrote the music, and these guys were kicking butt down there, so I'm glad we stayed in touch, and thank you for doing this project. Kenny Kosick. Well, you've already met Mr. Racquetball. But let me announce it again because he's an amazing musician and we're so thrilled to have him part of this project. Seth Farber on organ and accordion and vocals. Thank you, Seth. An old friend of mine that I also met down in the pit of Big River was Mr. Jeff Gantz, and we go back a long ways. And we both live in Cranford, New Jersey, we found out a few years ago. Mr. Jeff Gantz on bass and vocals. All right, I think, did I meet you on a wedding gig, man, or something? Frank's played with everybody from Bruce Springsteen to Felix Cavalieri. Frank Pagano on drums and vocals. He's going over to England with Renaissance next month. Yeah. We're going to lose him. We won't be able to do any Good Old Boys without you, man. John, I met you years back when I was working down at Under Acme, right? And that was back in around the mid-80s. And you came down to play with my band, the Hudson River Rats. Mr. John Putnam on guitar. It's amazing. And I'm going to tell David Spinozza you did a pretty damn good job. And he's done. He's done. I'll pay him for his chart, and that's it, man. You're the guy. David played with us at the Falcon.
Said that I did.
Just kidding. And we couldn't do this project without, I mean, you're doing a Randy Newman songbook here, and I had to be there. I know a lot of keyboard players, and I only could think of one guy, and Robbie Kondor was the guy I thought of on piano. Amazing talent, amazing arranger, and I'm glad I've got to know him over all these years. When we did the first song, I didn't announce. I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to go into Rednecks, but maybe we can get a little clarification on this since we do have Russ here and David's here. Was it 1970 that Randy was watching the Dick Cavett show?
You know, I don't know exactly.
It was around that time,
71, but that's
71, and that's what inspired him to go back to the hotel room. And I think he is probably one of the few tunes that he wrote without a piano. He just wrote the words first for this amazing song, Rednecks. But he was watching Dick Cavett, and I think the guests that night were Jim Brown, the athlete, and Truman Capote, the writer, and Lester Maddox, who was the governor of Georgia at the time, or just maybe resigned or was retired. And he was on the show, and Dick Cavett had him on with this crew, and they were pounding him. They were pounding him pretty hard, and Randy said, was thinking like, yeah, well, he deserves to be pounded. He's talking trash, but let him talk. And they would not let this guy get a word in. And Randy Newman said, we know the guy's a racist, but that doesn't mean that we don't have racists in the North too, And he went back and he wrote this song, Rednecks, and there's a whole story behind it. But I wanted to just touch upon that. And when I put this project together, I had no idea that my bass player played in a band with Lester Maddox. Yeah, he played in a nightclub act. Jeff, can you maybe just fill us in? Because I still don't believe this story, but tell everybody.
No, he's not kidding. In 1977, I was the house bass player at a nightclub in the basement of the Empire State Building called the Riverboat. And one of the acts that came in was Governor Lester Maddox and the dishwasher. Now the dishwasher was a guy named Bobby Lee Fears, who played guitar and played harmonica with Maddox, and he was an ex-con that was a dishwasher in Maddox's restaurant at the time, which is how he got his moniker. And it was very strange reception. I mean, the audience was like very on the fence about it, but the humor was stuff like Maddox would say to Bobby, "So Bobby, where'd you go to college?" And Bobby would go, "Reedsville," which is a maximum security prison. And
Like a schnick, they had a schnick.
exactly. And they would do things like farther along. It was whelming, to say the least.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Jeff. It really gave us a good feel on the Rednecks tune we have. And I know you brought some of that nightclub act with you tonight. And that's great. But we had to share that. I thought it was amazing. So when I was coming around before, and we did this at the Falcon too, I put these little posters, and you might think they're just like flyers. I am plugging this little thing that we did here tonight. But on the back of that little postcard, not the little postcard, but the bigger postcard on your table, and if you don't have it, I'll come out and give a few more of these out, because what Randy Newman did is, did he have you guys sing on the record too, Russ? Are you singing on?
It's me and Lenny and Randy overdub many times.
Overdubbing.
Well, to sound like a
little choir type
well,
thing.
yeah,
Sing
like a
along.
fraternity.
Sing along. The song that we're going to do is called "Every Man a King," and it's about the governor of Louisiana, Huey P. Long, back in the 30s. He was quite a character. He had a reputation. He also had a nickname. They called him the Kingfish. He used to love to watch the Amos and Annie, or listen to the Amos and Annie on the radio. They didn't have TV back then. And I think they probably thought he was closest to the character of the Kingfish. This guy was big, larger than life, you know, just an amazing temper, but he did a lot of things. He did a lot of things for Louisiana, which was pretty amazing that, you know, a guy this corrupt that could pull this off. But he did quite a few things, and he came up with a song because he was thinking. He was so successful at what he was doing down in Louisiana. He was thinking, and he got them through the flood, and said he was going to kind of share the wealth with everybody, make everybody feel really good about themselves. And he wrote this song. He commissioned somebody from the University of Louisiana, the musical director, to write this song with him. And it's called "Every Man a King." So you have the lyrics there. Problem is, he was going to use this if he was going to run for president, and Washington was really upset that this guy's going to run for president. He thinks he's coming to Washington. Well, never got the chance, because in 1935, he was assassinated by one of the workers that worked for the government down at one of the workers' sons. And that was the story of Huey Long. But it's a great book if you ever get a chance to read the story of Huey Long, All the King's Men, and there's a couple of great biographies out there. I'm going to ask you to sing along with us here. We'll sing it through once, and you got the words here in front of you, so help us out if you can. "Every Man a King." This was written not by Randy Newman, but by Huey P. Long. While we will slumber, America, land of brave and true, with castles and clothing and food for all belongs to you. Every man a king, for you can be a millionaire. But there's something belonging to others. There's enough for all people to share. When it's sunny June and December too, or in the winter time or spring, there'll be peace without end, every neighbor a friend, and every man a king. Keep it going, Robbie, because it's not a hard melody, right? Want to try it with us once? All right. Here we go. While we will slumber, America, land of brave and true, with castles and clothing and food for all belongs to you. Every man a king, or you can be a millionaire. But there's something belonging to us. There's enough for all people to share. nice round of applause. Yeah, that sounded really good. You can keep those words if you'd like to take them home and practice a little bit.
Practicing right now.
But on the record, Every Man a King was done to lead into this song that was going to set up a song that Randy wrote about Huey P. Long called Kingfish. So we're going to do that for you. 100,000 Frenchmen in New Orleans. In New Orleans, there's Frenchmen everywhere. Your house could fall down, your baby could drown, when one of them Frenchmen came. Everybody gather round, loosen up your suspenders, hunker down on the ground. I'm a cracker, and you are too, but don't I take good care of you? Who built the highway, Baton Rouge? Who put up the hospital, built your school? Who looks after shit kingdoms like you? The Kingfish do. Now who gave a party at the Roosevelt Hotel? Wanted to hold on heaven and stay down here for free. People in this city had their eyes bugging out, 'cause everyone looked just like me. Here come the Kingfish, the Kingfish. Everybody say, well, the Kingfish, the Kingfish. Every man a king. Who took off a standing arm and whipped their ass, just like he promised he would. Ain't no standing arm gonna run this thing. Gonna be run by little folks like me and you. Here come the Kingfish. Help me now. The Kingfish. Friend of the working man. The Kingfish. The Kingfish. The Kingfish gonna save this land. Another David Spinozza chart. Thank you. Great song, right? All right. The next song on the record, when I first started getting into it, I remember playing the record back when I was in college in 74, and I kind of wondered about the next song, and then the more I listened to it years later, I wondered, like, how did this song get on the record? It's a song called Naked Man. Russ? I'm lost. Can we,
explains it though.
It wasn't written for the record.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains
Actually,
it.
the story of Naked Man is one of Randy's best friends was a guy by the name of Alan Addison, who was an attorney. He's a public defender. And he had a client who actually was arrested running down the street naked with a purse in his hand. And when they arrested him, he said there was another naked guy who ran past him and gave him the purse.
Only in New Orleans.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That explains it. I couldn't have set the song up any better. Old lady lost in the city, in the middle of a cold, cold night. It was 14 below, and the wind started to blow. Wasn't a Boy Scout in sight. Pull down the shades, 'cause he's coming.
was shuffling uptown against the wind. She started to cry, wiped a tear from her eye. She looked back to where she had been. Old lady stand on the corner with a purse in her hand. She does not know, but in a minute or so, she will be right by the naked man. Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. One more time, come on. Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. Old lady leaned against the lamppost, staring down at the ground on which she stand. Well, she looked up and screamed, for the lamplight's beam. There stood the famous naked man. He said, "You found out about my sister, kicked me out of the Navy. You really strung me up if you could." I tried to explain that we were both lazy, but we're doing the best we could. Check it out. Fake to the left, and he fake to the right. Snatched the purse from her hand. Someone stopped me, he cried, as he faded from sight. Would nobody help the naked man? Would nobody help the naked man? Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. Oh, it sounds so good. Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. Let's try that again. Come on, everybody sing. Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. One more time. Ooh, it's cold up here. Beware, beware, beware of the naked man. Kenny Kosik on the mandolin. Yeah. Very nice. Was there mandolins on the record too, Russ?
No, the Eagles were on the record.
The
singing.
Eagles were doing
on
all
the
this-
album. The Eagles are on the album a lot.
All the backup singing?
Yeah, a lot of it. And I left out something about the story.
Okay. We have
When
time.
when the guy got arrested, he told the cop that he was in, a married woman's bedroom, and the husband came home, so he jumped out the window to get away, and that's why he was naked. The reason that he had the purse is because there was another naked guy.
It just happened. So happened. Another nigga guy was just doing his thing that night. That happens, you know. It's a shame that that guy was accused of it. You know?
You know,
I'm going to make you set up this next one too, because I still have no idea why this one ended up on the record. But I did hear something about that. It was supposed to be an anthem for something else.
yeah.
A wedding in Cherokee County. Russ, set us up.
What was originally the Albanian wedding song. also not in, when it was written, not intended to be on the record, but
The Southern
changed it,
thing, yeah.
so it fit in, you know. So so it has, like, if you listen to it with that in mind,
Right.
the lyrics that weren't changed. That's why there's a gray wolf and, you know.
Ah, okay. So he intended this to be the Albanian national anthem, but he needed another song for the Good Old Boys record. So it became about a county down south, a Cherokee County, and fine line between Albania and Good Old Boys, I guess. And it's somewhere in between here. Here we go. There she is, sitting there, out behind the smokehouse, in a rocking chair. She don't say nothing. She don't do nothing. She don't feel nothing.
she don't know nothing. Maybe she's crazy, I don't know. Maybe that's why I love her so. Her papa was a midget, her mama was a whore, her granddad was a newsboy until he was 84. Slimy old bastard he was. Man, don't you think I know she hates me? Man, don't you think I know she's no good? If she knew how, she'd be unfaithful to me. I think she'd kill me if she could. Maybe she's crazy, I don't know. Maybe that's why I love her so. I'm not afraid of the gray wolf who stalks through our forests at dawn. Long as I have her beside me, I have strength to carry on. Today we'll be married, and all the freaks that she knows will be there, and all the people from the village will be there to congratulate us. I will carry her across the threshold. I will make them the light. I will attempt to spend my love with them. Oh, I try with all my might. She will laugh at my mighty sword. She will laugh at my mighty sword. Why must everybody laugh at my mighty sword? Lord, help me if you will. Maybe we're both crazy. Maybe that's why I love her. Now I see the connection there. Okay. Now it makes sense. What a great song. Wow. I wish this was a CD, I wish this was like, this came out 45 years later because it was a CD. There'd be like maybe about another 10 songs on this. But they did release this, Good Old Boys. They repackaged it, maybe it was 2002 or 3. And what they did, I don't think Randy really was that interested in having all the other stuff. They had a lot of demo stuff when he was coming up with this idea about Johnny Cutler's birthday. So there was a lot of these songs like Marie, and some of the stuff was demoed up in Birmingham. And he really, somebody found the tapes, and he's going, well, I don't want to release it, but they were demos, but they were great. I mean, and it kind of explains the story, because Randy, was he narrating to you or to somebody about what these songs were going to do?
He was showing what it was going to be, like a show, like an opera,
Was it going to be like maybe a stage production?
He was explaining it, yeah.
Wow. I wish they would have made a stage show out of this, and maybe they will someday. It's just a great, great song, and there's a lot of great album and a lot inside of it. This next song, I think, if I'm correct, was a song about Johnny Cutler's brother. Johnny Cutler, who was our main character, sort of, had a brother who might have been the Naked Man, I guess, if you wanted to stretch it, because he was institutionalized after that incident, and he went to have a talk with the doctor of the institution, and Randy Newman came up with this song for that character. He's going to tell the doctor why he needs to be released at this point, because everything is kind of cool now. It's called Back on My Feet Again. Doctor, let me tell you something about myself. I'm a college man, and I'm very wealthy. Got no time to trifle with trash like you, 'cause I must be about my business. My brother's a machinist in a textile mill. He makes more money than you ever will. He just got married to a Polish girl with a space between the two.
the wall on a small cafe on Main. She ran off with a Negro from the Eastern Shore. Doctor, she didn't even know his name. Will get me back on my feet again. Back on my feet again. Open up the door, set me free. Get me back on my feet again. We took her down to Mobile on a railroad train. Said, driver, take me to the Hotel Paris. Went inside the washroom and he washed his face and hands. When he come out, he was white as you and me. He said, girl, I ain't no Negro, I'm a millionaire. You can't blame us too. So many women were after my money, but I'm proud to say you were only after me. Gonna teach you how to play polo and how to roller ski. You won't have to dance no more. I don't have to pretend to be a Negro from the Eastern Shore. Put me back on my feet again. Put me back on my feet again. Open up the door, set me free. Put me back on my feet again. Okay, that's all right. said, how about letting me out today? 'Cause see, there ain't no reason for me to stay. Everybody's so far away. Get me back on my feet again. Back on my feet again. Open up the door, set me free. Get me back on my feet again. Come on, everybody. Back on my feet again. Back on my feet again. Open up the door, set me free, and get me back on my feet again. Robbie Kondor on the piano. Yeah. We're coming up on the last song of the record. See, I told you if it was a CD, we'd have a whole lot more stuff. We may sneak in a few. This is a great way, really, to end a record because it's a song that kind of signifies a lot of stuff. You know, Johnny Cutler's drinking problem, and you know, for him, he kind of learned how to deal with it at least by the end of the story he did. And this song kind of tells that story. But I think the Rollin' part might also signify a little bit of the whole story in the Mississippi, how it just keeps rolling along. You got to read David's book. It's just amazing because all the stuff that we talked about tonight, he really did the research and put the time in to explain how these songs of the South came about. It wasn't just an idea that Randy had one night. It was something that was going on over time, and it was historical and it was personal. And I want you to take those cards home and check it out. It's a great read. It's a short read, actually. It's not a long book, and it's wonderful. It's called Song of the South, David Gaston. And this last song on the record is called Rollin', and it goes like this. Never drank in the afternoon. Never drank alone. I sure do like a drink or two when I get home. Every evening when I do, I sit here in this chair, pour myself some whiskey, watch my troubles dancing through the air. Rolling, rolling, I ain't gonna worry no more. Rolling, rolling, I ain't gonna worry no more. Used to worry about gambling, throwing my money away. I used to worry about wasting time, lay around the house all day. But I'm alright now. Yes, I'm alright now. I never thought I'd make it, but I always do somehow.
Good old boys. So there you have it. Can we do one more for you? Or do you want to? You twisted our arms. The record is not a real long record, but you know it really said everything it had to say. But there was a record that preceded the Good Old Boys LP, and it was called Sail Away. And I believe this is probably where Randy Newman started thinking about these songs of the South and how he was going to explain his story about it and come up with his characters. And I think we'll just do this as a duet, me and Robbie.
Here we go.
In America, you get food to eat. You don't have to run through the jungle and scuff up your feet. You'll just sing about Jesus, drink wine all day. It's great to be in America. Ain't no lions, no tigers, ain't no mama snake. Just a sweet watermelon in the buckwheat cake. Everybody's happy as a man can be. Climb aboard, little walk, sail away with me. Sail away, sail away. We will cross the mighty ocean, Charleston Bay. Sail away, sail away. We will cross the mighty ocean in the Charleston Bay. In America, every man is free to take care of his home and his family. You'll be happy as a monkey in a monkey tree. You're all gonna be in America. Sail away, sail away.
You can travel across this entire land. There ain't no place like Earth.